Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back. We're in the new year now, 2025. A lot of people have told me 2024 was not very good, not just one, not just 10, loads. So hopefully it's going to be a better year for everybody in terms of like the economy and, you know, growth and job prospects and money and travel and everything else. So, okay, so for this kind of video, it's going to be a short one, the first video of the new year. So what I would like to do is kind of break it down into kind of two sections. The first bit's going to be about kind of how I got into digital marketing, and the second bit is going to be something a little which, you know, specifically, you know, digital marketers, marketing managers, I think might find quite useful, because, you know, the industry is changing with AI, and, you know, a lot of these jobs can be done through software as a service platforms. So, you know, I've been doing a bit of research as to what kind of areas of marketing AI can't replicate well, if that makes sense. So I'm going to be kind of talking you through that in the second half of the video. Again, it's not going to be a really long video, but that's the theme of today's video. So without further ado, let's crack on. Okay, so I got into marketing in a bit, well, it's a bit of it was a journey, you know, as you'd expect. I didn't just kind of wake up one morning and think, I'm going to work in marketing. Originally, I worked in, you know, the travel industry. This is like, you know, the early years of my career. I was like a holiday rep for like Thomas Cook and JMC, Golden Sun. You know, I did 2 or 3 summers in Greece, which was like fantastic at the time because I was, you know, quite young. You know, every night was like a Saturday night. You know, you're meeting new people. The weather's brilliant. Your drinks are free. You can just imagine. You know, so. But, you know, as time progressed, whilst those experiences were good, I realised that the money wasn't good, and that I needed to, you know, either pivot, you know, within the travel industry, which I did actually, to try and, you know, get into a bit more of a career path which was going to make me more money. So what I did is I got into, you know, some different operational roles. You know, I worked for National Express in London for 18 months, like at Victoria Coach Station, and I also worked for BAA at London Gatwick in the control centre. Believe it or not, that's quite exciting. I did like a few night shifts. You have to stand on your feet for like 12 hours. You know, I was there for quite a while, you know, but regardless of whether you do the day shift or the night shift, it's 12 hours and you're on your feet. It's quite interesting, some of the things that can happen. You get like emergency landings and passengers falling in one of the 2 terminals, the North Terminal or South Terminal, or the maglev transit link breaking down, and, you know, bomb scares, all kinds of things. So it's quite interesting, quite varied. So I did that for a while, and then I worked for EasyBus, which was part of Stelios, well, still is part of Stelios's EasyJet group. I think he calls it Easy Group now, because obviously he's not the, you know, because EasyJet's gone public. You know, it used to be owned all by him, but now it's not. So he has a company called Easy Group, and it's like different businesses, you know, like, you know, Easy Pizza, Easy Bus, etc., Easy Car and stuff, if that's still going. So I worked at Stansted Airport, and that was quite a good experience. You know, at the time I was one of the new members of the team at STN, and my old boss David, you know, David Rawsthorne, you know, he gave me quite a bit of sort of control as to, you know, how to do things there and then at the terminal. I got involved in like the sales and the business development side of things, and I was talking to different airlines about, you know, cooperation, perhaps their cabin crews selling our tickets on board the flights before they land. You know, and I struck up a few deals. I don't know if they got followed through or not, because, you know, I think I was there for about a year. And yeah, I've had lots of kind of operational roles, and it's all good experience. Everything's about experience, you know, because if you haven't got experience, what have you got, you know? So what I did then is I kind of pivoted again. I got a bit more into the, you know, business development side of things, and that started with EasyBus really, you know, where I was kind of, you know, getting involved in striking deals and liaising with different executives at different airlines and airports and stuff like that. So after that, you know, as I mentioned, I got into the business development side of things a bit more, and I took my career in a, you know, so instead of a kind of operational direction, a bit more of a kind of salesy direction. I work for a number of other companies, like, Vinco Events and, stuff like that. They're like an events company in London and so, some other companies. Obviously, I'm not 25 years old anymore. But, look, as time has progressed, and I think this all kind of, the internet's been around for a long time now, but, when kind of Facebook went sort of mainstream, which I remember was about 2007, everything kind of exploded and all these new platforms started appearing, and it's just never stopped ever since. Now it includes things like software and software as a service platforms, and, marketing it's always changing. It's changing now, but back in the day, when LinkedIn was brand new, it was all the rage. People were, emailing people on LinkedIn, this is what we sell, this is who we are you interested, can we schedule a meeting, and stuff like that. And some of that still happens, although they've clamped down on the spam emails a lot. But look, now, with digital marketing and platforms like Canva and Adobe Express and Adobe Photoshop and all these other platforms, there's tons and tons of them. They're not all graphic design platforms, but what's happening is there's always kind of apps and software as a service platforms, and people within different companies can now perform certain marketing functions and just kind of cherry pick what they want, really. It's a bit like booking a Ryanair flight. You book the flight and then you decide how much luggage you want to take, or if you want speedy boarding, or if you want a meal on board the flight, or if you want this kind of stuff. So it's kind of the same with digital marketing. People they've got people in house now. Obviously you have to know your stuff to a reasonable degree, because if you're just come out of uni, you can't expect to know it all. You have to understand the theory as well as using different software. But in a nutshell, because I don't want to talk too much about this, that's kind of how I got into kind of digital marketing. So I started off in the travel industry, then I moved there to like a number of operational roles, and then I moved over to business development, which gradually became more and more online, and that's where I find myself today. And also, one point I've missed is, I live in quite, I do at the moment, quite a kind of rural area, so to speak. I've lived all over. I've lived in, London and Greece and Spain and different places, but which I did enjoy more, to be honest. But with the way technology's gone, that's how I got into it. So, I'd encourage you to, if you're looking for work, or if you're, maybe stuck in a bit of a career rut, maybe look into it, because you can still make good money. You can still pick up sort of 35, 45 grand, with a couple of years experience. Now, I've been doing it for 10 years, so maybe longer than that, in fact. But, it's certainly worth looking into. But they say now the average salary is kind of, it depends what you do, but in marketing they say the average salary is about 35k, which is not a lot. I don't think it is, not with all the price rises and the inflation. But a lot of the jobs are paying, if the company makes money, it's not unusual for them to be paying 42, 45 grand. Someone pay 50, 30 is a bit weak in my book, to be honest. I think 35 is a borderline week. It depends on your situation. If you're married and you've got a mortgage and car loans and credit card debts, 35 grand is not enough. If you're single and you've got no debts, no car loans, no mortgage to pay, and no major expenses, maybe it's okay, providing you're on a kind of 35-hour week contract or something. But look, that's how I got into it. So that's kind of all I wanted to share with you about that. And in a moment, we're going to move on to the next stage of the video, which is to look at some of the areas of marketing which AI cannot replicate very well. Okay, so I'll see you in a second. Okay, so I've been looking into, as I mentioned, I've been looking into some different areas which AI currently cannot do 100% well or very well at all. So that's kind of what I'm going to share in this second part of the video. Now, I've got a few notes in front of me, but we're not going to be reading off it literally, but one of the areas is kind of user experience, so things, customer journey, user experience. So things like crafting messages, influencing decision making and stuff like that. Because the thing is with AI, as you may have noticed, is that it can be a bit robotic. So when you ask for a bit of copy or a graphic, it's very doesn't AI is not very good with emotion, you know, so it doesn't have that human emotion. So, you know, if you can, you know, if you're skilled at kind of crafting stories and copy which is engaging and resonates with people and strikes a chord with you know, humans, then AI can't do that very well. So that's something which I would recommend, you know, somebody who's in marketing, who isn't kind of focused on that too much, gets into, because AI, unlike many other areas, can't perform that task very well. Look, how do you maybe look at things like Figma, Adobe, you know, Adobe XD, you know, frameworks like deep thinking. Now, admittedly, you know, I've written lots of copy for different marketing materials, and you know, everyone's got their own way of doing it. What I do is I write it myself first, and then I put it through a couple of different language models. Now, I'm not talking about ChatGPT, because ChatGPT just writes it for you, and maybe you don't get what you want, but I always write it myself, and then I polish it up using a number of different language models. Now, you know, there's different software out there. One of the ones I used in the past is called WordTune. That's £100 a year though. It's not a lot of money, but it's still £100 a year. Since then, I found other language models which, in my opinion, are better than WordTune and completely free. So I'll give you an example of that, like Ahrefs free paraphraser. Basically, if you have to write the stuff, it won't write it all for you. You have to write the text yourself. You copy and paste it into a box, and then you can select how many variants you want. I think 1, 3 or 5, so something like that. It's either 1, 2 or 5, or 1, 3 and 5. Excuse me. And then, you know, what you do then is you got an option of 6, 7, 8 different variables. So, you know, you can have like professional, bespoke, formal, casual, friendly. I quite like friendly because it's kind of a cross between formal and, you know, casual. It's just you know, it comes out professional. You know, it doesn't sound all chatty and casual, but it kind of has a professional feel to it. I quite like that. But there's plenty of others. You know, I mean, I haven't got it open in front of me now, but it's completely free to use, and that will polish up your text that you've written yourself, obviously, and it will just make it look spick and span. You know, so, you know, ready to deploy on you know, websites and stuff like that. And don't forget, you have to write it yourself. What it does is it polishes it up for you. So, you know, when I say polishes up, I'm not talking about just the grammar. It polishes up the fluency of it, you know, and the flow of it, in a way that perhaps most human beings can't. So that's kind of one thing to look into. You know, yes, AI can help you polish it up, but with regard to crafting compelling messaging and storytelling for brands and stuff, like maybe AI doesn't have that emotion to actually write that from scratch. So you have to write it yourself, and then you can turn to other bits and pieces or platforms like Ahrefs free paraphraser, which will help you to polish that up for free. So that's one area. The next one, it's not loads, there's quite a few, I think. Okay, so the next one is MarTech, so marketing technology and integration. So, you know, with this, I suppose the key to it is, you know, AI is not very strategic. So, you know, whilst you can ask for an essay or a graphic, you know, and it will pull up facts from Google, you know, it hasn't got that, you know, human strategic touch to it, if you like. So imagine if you're sitting in a meeting room with your peers and colleagues from work, and they're saying, well, we've got such and such a problem, and, you know, this is the situation, this is the budget, how can we get around it? Well, AI is not very good at kind of making decisions around that. Does that make sense? So, you know, if you can you know, find a way to, you know, appeal to, you know, different companies as a marketeer and help them to integrate their tech stack into their everyday operations, I think that was something which, you know, would be useful. You know, yes, there's lots of AI programs out there, but, you know, it's about integrating them into the tech stack, or yeah, that's the best way I can phrase it. So, you know, the tech stack is like, you know, software, AI, different programs within the organization, and, you know, quite often a lot of the organizations struggle to integrate all that into their day-to-day operations without massive disruptions. So, you know, if you can kind of find a way to focus on that. Maybe, familiarize yourself with Salesforce, HubSpot's, different analytics tools. That might be a good place to start. So yeah, it's not going to be really detailed, but I just wanted to highlight some of the things which you might find useful as a marketeer stroke marketing manager, which AI doesn't do in a really great way. Here's an interesting one: behavioral science and neuromarketing. Okay, so kind of touches what I mentioned, before. If you enjoy studying consumer behavior, the path involves understanding human thought and principles and how a human might react to a certain proposition from a marketing side. So, if you can understand things like that, and the field is not, massively commoditized by AI. So if you can kind of understand that, and not so much understand it, but just get into it a bit more, study it. How do you go about that? Well, there's learn about behavioral economics, neuroscience, related software, biometric tools, things like that. I think you'll find that a bit more in demand than, say, something like SEO or paid ads or maybe graphics software, because there's software that can do all that stuff. Interestingly, YouTube's another thing where I don't think AI can do like a great job. Yes, and again I stumble across a video where somebody's trying to make a video about a travel destination and used an AI program, and it just sounds a bit robotic. They have a voice speaking and there's no emotion in the voice. So if I'm an AI robot, I would literally be talking like a robot by saying AI is talking like a robot. There's no human looking at you in the eye, or kind of trying to relate to you or your situation at your level or your company level or whatever. There's none of that. So that's one thing worth looking into if you're looking to circumvent the AI revolution, if that makes sense. A lot of marketers like myself find that I'm sure it's a common problem, because the pace of change is so fast. A lot of things we used to do can now be done by software and AI. So, but it's all about staying ahead of the curve, guys. Being one step ahead of the curve, and that's kind of what I'm trying to do in a nutshell, without going into massive detail in the second part of this video. So, again, if you can make this is the next point. If you can make yourself an ethical AI and privacy, advocate, let's say, in AI and marketing, that will be something which AI can't do well. Basically, I'll read out what it says. I've got a few notes in front of me. So it says, as marketing shifts to AI, ethical concerns about data usage, personalization, and bias grow. Companies need professionals who understand both marketing and the ethical legal landscape. So, I don't know if you got all that, but as a business, as a company, even if you're like a small one-man business, I do think that some people struggle to understand the implications of using AI. It all depends on context, because a lot of companies, what happens is people rip their, maybe they get told by their bosses, let's have some copy about engineering, for example. I don't work in engineering, but I just made that up. So what these people will do is they'll go to like one of these AI platforms, and there's quite a lot of them. It's not one or five. There's more like getting on 25 to 50 plus, and the rest. There's more, and they'll type in what they want, and they'll get some spiel back with maybe no emotion, no research. It'll just pull up stuff from different sources on the internet with American spelling normally, so instead of an S you get a Z. Now I'm not saying it's all a pack of lies, but the fact that a lot of companies or a lot of employees will then copy and paste that stuff and serve it up to the company newsletter or company website, what are the implications of that in terms of because obviously AI is new and regulators are still grappling with, the legal framework and the legal side of it, so what's ethical, what's legal. So if you can make yourself an expert on that, that's something that AI can't do well. Learn about the governance and the laws around AI, because look, it's the same in every industry. It doesn't matter what sector you work in, like things change, so things change because of macroeconomics, things change because of technology, things change because of shortages or in the labour force, let's say. There's certain agricultural producers in the UK that now have a problem because after Brexit we haven't got the workers, they're all buzzed off. So things do change, and with marketing, like AI or software as a service, which is a lot of these things run on AI, not completely, but a lot of them do. It's about keeping on top of it, and I think in the frenetic race to make money and create brand visibility and stuff like that, I think companies don't generally have the time to research the ethical and legal frameworks and what might get them in trouble later on. It might be a bit 10 years down the line, there's a new regulator, laws get passed, and stuff which was published 10 years earlier has to be removed. Do you see what I mean? So if you can kind of study that and get into it a bit more, and maybe make yourself a bit of a consultant, a bit of an expert, a bit of a guru, I think that won't be a bad thing. Excuse me, a bit of a cough today. Okay, so moving on to the next one, education and training in marketing and AI. So it kind of picks up on the last one a little bit, your experience in helping others to transition into marketing roles, using AI tools effectively. Because, look, I've worked in a sector for a long time, and because I kind of, speak to a lot of, heads of marketing and marketing directors and stuff, because of from a contract work side, one thing I see a lot of is some of these operations are almost Victorian. They're like stuck in a time warp. The way the processes and the way they're doing things are so back, it's like from another age, so if you can train yourself, again, somebody who's from a marketing background, to perhaps offer yourself as a consultant, maybe, so that you're helping some of these companies, maybe going in as a bit of a trainer and with a bit of a program, and looking at what the requirements are and how they can be met with different software, different AI, alongside the legal and privacy issues and stuff, and all the other stuff I've discussed. I think that will help you. AI can't do that. Just what it says here is AI tools, as AI tools democratize marketing, business, and individuals need guidance on using them strategically. So, it's all about strategy and having a strategic approach, and if you can kind of position yourself in that kind of area, I think that will help you. The people who are going to suffer, if that's a good word to use, the people who are maybe doing what all the stuff was done before, like sort of, for example, if you're not a specialist SEO agency and you're trying to do SEO, paid ads, graphics via some of these SaaS platforms, software as a service, and just kind of skip through things, I think people who did do those jobs, are going to suffer for sure. It's changing already, so this is why it's important to stay ahead of the curve. And I appreciate everyone's at a different level of marketing. I don't know it all. I've been doing it over 10 years. Some of you watching this might have been doing it for 20 years or 30 years. I'm not here to judge you. I'm just saying, but realistically, to survive, because things are changing, it might be worthwhile pivoting to some of these areas that I've just discussed. I'm still working through. Okay, so here's an interesting one. It's something I had something to do with in my last role. So green and sustainability marketing. And this is, maybe I'll make another video on this to expand on it a bit more, like a separate standalone video, but this is something that's quite big with a lot of companies now, because of all the stuff we hear in the news about climate change. There's this pressure on companies to adopt greener, more sustainable practices with regard to, the purchasing, the waste management, landfill carbon, and all the rest of it. Some people even get their print done carbon free, and there's a number of carbon balance printers in the UK. There's not that many, but there's 50 or 60, I believe. Look, this is something that's really interesting. Like a lot of investors, corporate investors, whether it's like a, venture finance company or, a bank or anything like that, or angel investors, they're generally now looking for green and sustainable products and services and businesses, because they don't want to invest in something that's going to be like wiped off the map in 5-10 years because of new laws around climate change. So there's something called like ESG, which is like environmental, social stroke governance. And like I said, I had something to do with this in my last role. And a lot of companies want to see like an ESG logo on their branding, their letterhead, their newsletters, their website even. So it's a growing thing, and I think if you're looking for customers, they're more likely to buy from a company that has these ESG criteria. So to kind of get skilled in that, you can learn sustainability frameworks like B Corp certification or ESG reporting standards. It's not that complicated, but it's the direction of travel that everything's headed in. So as a kind of marketing professional or even a business, if you can take yourself in that direction, that's something that a lot of businesses need a hand with, because there's more businesses that aren't aligned with that than are at the present time. Maybe have a look at some sites like the World Land Trust and see what they're doing. And it's a growing thing. A lot of the really big businesses have a whole section of their website and a whole department allocated to this kind of stuff. But with regard to like the smaller SMEs, maybe with turnovers under 2 million or something, they might not be up to speed with it. So if you can train yourself and become more familiarized with how to reduce carbon via carbon balance printers and the World Land Trust and different stuff like that, I think as a marketer that's another string to a bow. That will help you, and that's something AI can't do. The idea that you type into AI, we're a company based in Basingstoke, we do XYZ, how can we reduce our carbon by 85%? AI wouldn't have a clue. So do you see what I mean? I'm just trying to get you to think a little bit differently. So that's something to have a look at. Okay, and product management. See, again, a lot like AI can't do this. So product management. Imagine you've got a new product that's going to go to market. Because obviously there's different types of marketing. It's like field marketing, where you maybe have like a territory. It could be southwest of England or northwest of England, or European Union or whatever it is. So, that's what field marketing is. You have a product or service, and you're tasked with marketing it within that region. Product marketing is when you've actually got a product. So it could be an existing product, could be a new product that's ready for launch, go to market. And AI cannot. As I understand it, well, it's pretty obvious that it can't do it. The idea that you type into AI, we have got this product which we've just devised, which does X, Y, Z. Can you please, tell us how to market the product? For sure, AI might bring up some standard blurb, but it won't have all the details of your product and the unique benefits that it offers and stuff. So, if you can make yourself a bit of a product marketing specialist, do some training, refocus what you're doing, that will stand you in really good stead. Like I said, I've got a few more things here on the list, but maybe just look at things like sort of agile Scrum methodologies and basic project management tools, and these things will help you evaluate the weaknesses and the strengths of a product and where it should be positioned and stuff like that. That's something that AI can't do at all or well. So there's another one here: marketing for underserved sectors. So some sectors are overloaded with marketing opportunities, other sectors are underserved. So some examples of underserved sectors, might be like agri-tech, agriculture tech, ag tech we call it, public sector organisations, education, healthcare, although, you know, med tech, you know, that's quite a big area. But yeah, look, I mean, I could go on and on. There's a few more on this list that I've pulled out here. Another one is like crisis communications and reputation management. See, that's something to get into. AI can't do that. So, you know, if you imagine that a company has like an unforeseen problem. In fact, there was one yesterday. You know, a plane crash yesterday, killing 179 people in South Korea. Now, it's miles away from here, but it's a good example. So nobody saw that coming, and you know, that's to be crisis communications, reputation management. Now, you know, the idea that somebody goes to AI or ChatGPT and says, sort it out, is a nonsense. You know, we've got to have a human touch. We've got to have, you know, meetings. We've got to do press releases in front of the TV cameras and radio and social media, and, you know, everything's got to be worded and crafted in a way which is sensitive and appropriate to the situation. And also the reputation management, because obviously, you know, something like that does damage to a brand. So, you know, if you can kind of, you know, become familiar with PR software, media training and legal basics, and get into that side of things, I think that you will do better than trying to position yourself as a, you know, an all-round marketeer where perhaps, you know, 50% of the stuff or 60% of the stuff can be done by software as a service platforms, you know, via a receptionist or somebody in-house. Another good one here, community building and brand advocacy. That's a good one. I see a lot of brands that, you know, they want to build like a community of not necessarily followers, but just a community to increase their brand visibility, because, you know, the number one thing which a lot of people do, you know, or have done is, you know, I'm looking retrospectively obviously, is, you know, they've done Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and stuff, but there's so much choice and so many things you can do now that, you know, a lot of community companies are choosing to build communities where they can, you know, kind of really get people on board for a brand, and, you know, have, you know, there's different forms of it. It could be like YouTube, it could be like some kind of platform, but, you know, once brands have got people on board, you know, or sold or signed up to their community, it's much easier to get a messaging out to them, because, you know, it goes straight to their phone, you know, straight to their email, because they're kind of signed up, you know, to that community. Now, I'm not saying it's like a paid community, but they're signed up to it. So there's more chance of them seeing the message, and you've got more chance of converting people, you know, in sales and stuff, as opposed to just putting something out on social media where they might miss it, or they might not see it. So, yeah, look, if you want to learn a bit more about that, you know, learn about platforms like Discord, Slack, advanced social media management tools, you know, there's plenty of them, just Google them. So brand advocacy, you know, community building is worth getting into. Now, look, it's kind of, yeah, I could have pulled off more examples. Those are the ones I've kind of pulled off for now. But look, I'll just kind of read through them again. I'm just going to read them off my list because there's quite a few of them. So these are things that I think, as a kind of marketeer stroke marketing manager, you could get into and the reason I say this is because AI can't do these things well. So you're more protected, you know, than you would be getting into something like, you know, keyword selection or social media management or graphics, because AI can't do these things. And these things that I'm just going to read out one last time on the list are always going to be in demand, and AI can't do them at the moment. I don't actually think AI can do YouTube well, but okay, so just to recap the list, okay, so user experience and customer journey design, marketing technology, MarTech it's called, and integration into, you know, their tech stack and stuff. Behavioral science or neuro marketing expert, you know, ethical AI and privacy advocacy in marketing, of course. Education and training in marketing and AI. Green and sustainability marketing, that's a really big one. I see that a lot. Product management, yeah. So, you know, if all companies, you know, they've got products, Product could be a service, it could be an actual physical product. If you can become a bit of an expert in product marketing and product design and stuff like that, I think that will stand you in good stead. There's no way AI can do that to anywhere near to the same level, if at all, to a human being. Marketing for underserved sectors, crisis communications and reputation management, and community building and brand advocacy. So yeah, I'm going to wrap up there, but if you can just kind of take that on board, I appreciate you might have been working in marketing for a while, I appreciate you might have a good job, I think everything's safe, I don't need to worry about this stuff, but the AI revolution is real, things are changing. I'm not saying you're going to be out of a job next week or next month or next year, but it's good to start planning ahead. And maybe I'm going to be looking into some of this stuff a little bit more. I think there's more things on the list, or I think there's more things I could add to the list, let's put it that way, to get around the threat of AI, which there's benefits to all these things. It can help streamline things, cut down the costs, improve the accuracy, and it can also put people out of work. And look, same thing happened with the travel industry. Before the internet, everyone used to go to a travel agent to book their tickets. Now they're booking their flights online, booking their hotels online, booking.com, and they're booking their insurance online. And you see what I mean? So these things do change, and it's good to keep on top of them. So guys, I'll wrap up there. Happy New Year again, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Cheers, bye.